we got to fight. Because as the next president of the United States says to me often, when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, thank you, ask me.
Governor Tim Walz flying solo today for the first time since joining Vice President Harris on the Democratic ticket. I'm Valerie Castro in for Gadi Schwartz, and this is Stay Tuned Now. After touring battleground states with his running mate last week, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota is on the campaign trail by himself today, speaking at a major public sector union event in Los Angeles. Walz made the point that winning in November takes more than just faith, ambition, and hope.
We can't hope that we defeat Donald Trump. We can't hope that we can collectively bargain. We can't hope we protect Social Security. We can't hope that we address climate change. You don't hope to win. You plan, prepare, and work to win.
Walz also used the opportunity to hit back on the Trump camp's criticism of his military service record.
And I firmly believe you should never denigrate another person's service record. To anyone brave enough to put on that uniform for our great country, including my opponent, I just have a few simple words. Thank you for your service and sacrifice.
California is one of several campaign stops for Governor Walz this week. He will be heading to Colorado tomorrow and then back east to talk to voters in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New York. All this coming less than a week before the DNC is set to kick off in Chicago. Let's bring in senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell. Kelly, was this a strategic decision by the Harris camp to send Walz out solo before the DNC?
Well, it was certainly an opportunity, having him separate from Kamala Harris in a place that was clearly friendly. He, as a former teacher, was a member of a union, and this was a union of public service workers, one of the largest in the nation, at their convention. And it gave him a chance to address the issue, although we did not go into any specifics about some of the claims that have been made against him, but to talk about his service with pride and to say that no one should denigrate another's service. And that's sort of a way to go back at the Trump campaign to try to discourage them from following this. But the Trump campaign has been aggressive in attacking Walz, not for the time he spent in the National Guard, but some of the ways that he has talked about that service. Valerie?
And Kelly, what about Harris? What has been on her agenda?
Well, she's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes this week, getting ready for what will be a big event later in the week in Raleigh, where we expect her to unveil some of her economic plans. Because, of course, she's new to being the candidate, of course, always serving as vice president, changing some of the policy ideas from a Biden-centered campaign to a Harris-centered campaign is some of the work that's been going on behind the scenes.
And of course, the DNC is coming up next week. What do we know about who will be there? When will they speak?
Well, there are going to be big names from the Democratic Party. President Joe Biden, in a different role now, will speak on Monday night along with the First Lady. We expect that Barack Obama, both the Clintons, Hillary Clinton and former President Bill Clinton, will also speak. So the biggest names in the party will all be coming together in part to talk about Donald Trump and also to talk about Kamala Harris and their belief that the party should unite behind her. And it's a big week for the party to celebrate after what has been a very tumultuous time changing candidates. Valerie?
All right, Kelly, thank you. A reminder, our coverage from the DNC kicks off on Monday. The NBC News team will be in Chicago bringing you all the ins and outs. And, of course, look for special coverage in primetime here on NBC News Now. In a rambling conversation with Elon Musk last night, former President Donald Trump vented about a, quote, zombie apocalypse of immigration, which is one of Trump's more familiar talking points. And it's a well he went back to during the college protests against the war in Gaza earlier this year. Last month, Trump and other senior GOP leaders published a platform describing how to deal with pro-Palestinian protests, which is to, quote, deport pro-Hamas radicals. Tonight, an NBC News exclusive investigation reveals that the overwhelming majority of those protesters are American, and only 4 foreign students on academic visas were allegedly arrested, and no visas have been terminated based on protest activity. NBC News senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Haake has more on Trump and Musk's talk on immigration and their shared vision for the country.
Valerie, for folks who fought through that 40-minute technical delay, they were rewarded with about a 2-hour conversation between Musk and Donald Trump about a variety of topics, everything from Trump rally staples like immigration to Musk areas of interest like alternative forms of energy and AI and the future of electric cars, on which Trump praised Musk but made it clear he's not a big fan of the concept in general. What we did see also was some scattershot attempts to attack Kamala Harris, the former president's actual opponent, calling her things like incompetent, with this desire to keep going back and relitigating the episode of Joe Biden getting out of the race, something that his advisors have urged him to move on from.
We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way.
Trump also continues to talk about some policy ideas or plans that he would put in place if he were elected president that I think are going to become very controversial and perhaps have short legs with the courts in this country, including the idea of deporting what he calls pro-Hamas radicals. That's essentially, students, anybody on a student visa who's out there criticizing Israel or protesting. This has become a popular element of the Trump stump speech. It's a way for him to try to drive a wedge between Democrats and Jewish voters, or particularly pro-Israeli Jewish voters. But it's one of those things that's extremely likely to become legally troublesome for him should he ever actually attempt to put it into practice. Valerie?
Garrett, thank you. Tensions are soaring in the Middle East tonight on multiple fronts. Iran has rejected international calls to refrain from attacking Israel in retaliation for the assassination of a Hamas leader in Tehran last month. The U.S. reiterating their support for Israel today, while adding that any attacks by Iran could be significant. There are reports that Iran might not go ahead with the attack if a ceasefire deal is reached between Hamas and Israel, but that deal itself seems to be on shaky ground, with Hamas refusing to send a representative to the table this week. Here's what President Biden had to say on the topic earlier today.
It's getting hard. We'll see what Iran does, and we'll see what happens if there's any attack. But I'm not giving up.
Are those two things tied together? Do you have the understanding that Iran could cease or stop doing an action if a ceasefire deal was possible?
That's my expectation, but we'll see.
Let's bring in NBC's Ellison Barber from Tel Aviv. Ellison, Iran has now rejected calls to stand down, but you heard President Biden there. There could be some tie-in with ceasefire negotiations. What's going on?
Yeah, so what he seems to be referring to there is something that Reuters reported this morning. They had 3 Iranian security sources telling them that the question of whether or not Iran would carry out their long-anticipated rebuttal to that assassination inside of their capital city, that ultimately a lot of it would hinge on what happens with the possible ceasefire and those talks that are slated, in theory, for Thursday of this week. And in that reporting, what those Iranian officials are telling Reuters is that there's a possibility that Iran would not directly strike Israel if a ceasefire agreement was reached. But they said if one is not, then they would go ahead with that. And also they would go ahead if they felt like Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, was dragging his feet in these conversations. Now, that being said, we have heard from Iran's new president and other Iranian officials that they believe it is their right to respond to the assassination that occurred inside of their sovereign territory. They say that Israel was behind that. Israel has not taken credit for that. They also have not denied that. But Ismail Haniyeh, the political leader of Hamas, was killed inside of Iran when he was there as the new president of Iran was being inaugurated. So Iran's supreme leader, the new president, other officials have been very clear that they see this as something that is their duty to avenge. And they've consistently said that. At times it seemed like their rhetoric sort of slowed down or wasn't as intense. But we've seen a number of public statements, particularly in the last 24 hours, direct response to European countries asking Iran to sort of de-escalate here, where they say, no, one, we think it's our right that we are able to respond to this, and that we should because it happened within our sovereign territory, and 2, that they believe Israel is the one elevating tensions in this region and pushing the region closer to a larger scale war, not them. Valerie?
Well, and meanwhile, Israel continued to strike Gaza overnight. What's the latest there?
Right. I mean, look, we're over 10 months, almost 11 months now into this war. And according to Gaza health officials, close to 40,000 have died inside the enclave since this war kicked off. They don't distinguish between civilians and combatants, but they do say the majority of those killed have been women and children. Israel claims that since October 7th, they have now eliminated about half of Hamas's leadership. But that's something that's difficult to verify. We have seen those high-profile names, Mohammed al-Daf, and also others that have been assassinated in recent weeks. But some of the names, the numbers, they've been disputed by Hamas as to whether or not they were actually militants. But there's always been this question of proportionality, right? And how many civilians is it okay to die in a war if it's about something else? And that's been the constant push and pull here. Again, according to Gaza health officials, 40,000 people have died inside of Gaza since this war began. That number is staggering. And I do want to show you some video that we have of a baby after an airstrike. Her home, her family, they were hit by an Israeli airstrike. Every single member of this baby's immediate family killed. 13 relatives in all dead. Her name is Reem. She's just 5 months old. Our team spoke to some of the doctors treating her, and the bits of her extended family that still remain. An aunt had taken her to a hospital because her mother, when she died, she was breastfeeding. This is a 5-month-old baby, and the doctors there, they told our team in Gaza that the baby has been crying just nonstop for the last 24 hours because she won't take a bottle. She's not used to formula. She's been breastfed. And so they're just trying to get this baby with scratches all on her face from this airstrike to eat, while her grandmother, her aunt, are saying, who's going to raise this baby? The grandmother, at one point, telling our team, I'm too old to raise this baby. We don't know what to do. About 115 infants, according to Gaza health officials, have been born inside of Gaza since this war began and died. This baby was lucky in a sense because she survived, but she's 5 months old, has no family left. She is alone. And right now, doctors are just trying to see if they can get her to take a bottle on formula because she is so not used to it. Valerie.
All right. Ellison Barber reporting for us tonight from Tel Aviv. Ellison, thank you. Right now, Tropical Storm Ernesto is barreling through the Caribbean, expected to bring heavy rain and storm surge to Puerto Rico over the next couple of hours. Tropical storm warnings are in effect across the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. The storm's harsh winds already causing trees to topple over on the islands of St. Kitts and Nevis earlier today. While Ernesto is not expected to make a direct landfall in Puerto Rico, officials are warning the storm could trigger flash flooding and mudslides as it passes by the coast. The governor is urging people to stay inside over the next 24 hours. In that same time frame, Ernesto is expected to strengthen into a hurricane as it heads towards Bermuda. It could be a Category 2 later this week. We have team coverage tonight. NBC News correspondent Gadi Venegas is in Miami. But first, let's go to NBC News meteorologist Angie Lassman. Angie, what do the next couple of hours look like as Ernesto gets closer to Puerto Rico?
Yeah, so we're going to start to see things kind of deteriorate a little more here as the evening and overnight hours go on, Valerie. And then even tomorrow, Puerto Rico will still be dealing with the impacts. We're already seeing some of that happening across the Virgin Islands. Those tropical storm force winds have already arrived for folks there. Notice winds are up 65 miles per hour as of that latest update. So the system continues to get its act together. We aren't really seeing any signs of weakening, and we're not expecting that to happen here until way down the line. We're talking past the weekend. It'll continue to strengthen. It'll eventually take a northerly turn. Right now, though, still moving at northwest at 18 miles per hour. We're starting to see some improvement for folks in the Leeward Islands. Notice we don't have the alerts up for folks there anymore. Instead, it's the hurricane watches that are up for the Virgin Islands as the center of that system passes over those islands, and then the tropical storm warnings for Puerto Rico. Now, big picture look of the track. We are, as I mentioned, expecting it to intensify to a Category 1. That happens likely in the short term. As we get into Wednesday afternoon, notice 85 miles per hour. That's after the system is already pulled away from parts of the Caribbean, but it's going to spend some time over these really warm Atlantic waters. We've got plenty of fuel for it to continue to strengthen, becoming a Category 2 and potentially impacting Bermuda down the line. One thing to note along the East Coast, Valerie, late week we likely will see some conditions as far as strong rip currents as well as that dangerous surf. So folks that are planning on making it a beach day Friday into the weekend, that will be impacting them there.
As it does strengthen into a hurricane, as it moves past Puerto Rico, what could those impacts look like?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things that we're going to be looking for is the really heavy rain for Puerto Rico. That's one thing we've kind of honed it on to be a potential impact over the next 24 hours and really even overnight tonight and well into tomorrow. Notice these rainfall amounts. We're talking 2 to 4 inches for more widespread areas. But remember, the system, the center of it at least, is going to pass to the north of the island. So all of that heaviest of the rain will likely be in the northern tier of the island. Now, we could see some isolated spots, localized amounts up to 10 inches. That means that the flash flooding, the mudslides, the landslides, all of that is going to be on the table for Puerto Ricans. As we know, they're still recovering from Maria many years ago. So we've got some vulnerabilities across the island, but it's going to be the heavy rain and, of course, those tropical storm force winds that we're going to have to watch for over the next 24 to 36 hours for folks there.
Okay, Angie, we know you'll keep an eye on that. Thank you. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Gadi Venegas. Gadi, how are officials in Puerto Rico preparing for Ernesto, especially when it comes to the island's already shaky power grid?
Valerie, a lot of people are waiting to see what happens when the storm comes through and if that power grid will be able to keep the power on for all of the Puerto Ricans that are worried. We saw what happened during Maria when a storm years ago took out a large part of the infrastructure. Then Fiona 2 years ago that left a lot of Puerto Ricans without power for weeks. So the governor has asked people to shelter in place. They asked them to shelter in place starting at 6 p.m. So as of now, everyone should be at home. If not, they do have shelters for individuals that don't have a place to shelter. They expect people to be sheltering for the next 24 hours. Authorities there say they expect heavy rains for the next 24 to 30 or 36 hours, depending on how fast the storm is moving. So, yes, the power infrastructure has been vulnerable for some time. Luma, the power company, spoke with the governor today and said they have teams standing by to make repairs if repairs are necessary during the storm. The National Guard has also been activated, and authorities are just hoping that the rain doesn't cause the damage that we've seen from previous storms. There's also a warning of possible flash floods and landslides, especially on the west side of the island, although the storm will be hitting the east side of the island and also of the main island, and also the two smaller islands that are east of Puerto Rico, especially Culebra. We saw that Culebra in the past had been slammed by previous storms, and they are usually the first ones to get hit. So for now, it's just going to be waiting for the storm to make its way through and see what kind of rain the storm is hit with.
Gadi, I know you mentioned some of those previous storms. What kind of investments or preparations have been made in case there are large power outages?
So since Hurricane Maria, it was very noticeable that the infrastructure in Puerto Rico had a lot of issues. So a lot of investment has been made to make repairs on the main island, but also for places like Culebra, which is the furthest to the east island that is usually hit by the storms first. There's been investment made in solar panels and essentially creating an independent system for homes to be able to function when the power grid is out. So they have a lot of solar panels and homes that will be able to just continue working with electricity from those panels in case we see what's happened in the past. And also hospitals as well as government buildings have had some time to invest since the last storm to bring in generators and backup power options, because again, there's a big issue with the power infrastructure in Puerto Rico. So we are hoping that all of those changes will be strong enough to withstand the power of the storm. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens in the next 24 hours as the storm makes its way through. Valerie.
Gadi Venegas for us tonight in Miami. Gadi, thank you. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Up next, abortion on the ballot. 2 more states now putting the debate over access up to voters. How the issue could mobilize people to get to the polls this November, including in battleground Arizona. Plus, new hope for what might be under Mars' rocky, dusty surface. The signs that water is somewhere down there. What the findings tell us about the red planet's potential. That's tonight's Future of Everything. And a hunt for answers. Researchers trying to figure out why sea lions are showing up sick on California beaches. Our Liz Kreutz went along for the ride, what they found, and what it might mean for the health of the ocean and beyond.
It's very dramatic, but we also know that they are windows into the health of our ocean.
Welcome back. Here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. Today, President Biden is promoting his moonshot push to fight cancer, announcing over $100 million in grants while in New Orleans. The research will support teams around the country working to drastically lower cancer deaths. It's a policy goal close to the president, as his own son, Beau, died of brain cancer in 2015. It is primary day in Connecticut, Wisconsin, Vermont, and Minnesota, setting up matchups in a number of races for the House and Senate in November, one of which involves Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, who is facing several primary challenges, perhaps none tougher than former Minneapolis City Council member Don Samuels, who she beat by only 2 percentage points back in 2022. There's an ongoing manhunt for a convicted murderer in North Carolina. His name is Ramon Alston. He escaped from a prison transport van near Chapel Hill this morning, where he was being taken to a hospital for medical care. Police say he likely freed himself from leg restraints, but was still handcuffed when he escaped. The State Department of Correction is offering a $25,000 reward for his capture. A former Kansas police chief has been hit with felony obstruction of justice charges after his department raided a small-town newspaper last year. Prosecutors say the chief led a poor investigation that led to the raid of the Marion County Record. The raid sparked a national debate about press freedom. Almost 500,000 Mazda and Ford owners have been told not to drive their vehicles because they are equipped with an airbag that has already been recalled, which, if deployed, can explode and fling metal fragments at the driver and passengers. The years of the vehicles affected are between 2003 and 2015. The fate of abortion rights will be in the hands of more voters across the country in November. Missouri and Arizona just added the issue to their ballots. In the wake of the end of Roe, pregnant women are left with worrying questions about their care. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett explains.
A constitutional amendment in Missouri that would wipe out the state's near-total ban on abortion, now set to appear on the ballot this November, while abortion rights organizers in the swing state of Arizona shattered records with more than 500,000 signatures to get their proposed amendment added.
But this initiative has made the ballot.
Tonight, Missouri and Arizona joining a growing list of states, all with similar ballot measures that would create a new right to abortion up to the point a fetus can survive at around 24 weeks, something opponents say goes too far. This ballot push, the byproduct of the Supreme Court overturning the right to an abortion, allowing each state to pass their own restrictions. Laws now under increasing scrutiny as new data emerges about what's been happening in hospitals. A new analysis of federal records by the AP showing more than 100 pregnant women in medical emergencies like ectopic pregnancies denied care in the ER since Roe was overturned. As doctors tell NBC News, they are navigating vague laws that don't account for medical nuances.
There's so much fear and confusion because an ectopic can have a heartbeat.
Kylie Thurman had an ectopic pregnancy where an embryo implants in a fallopian tube. She was initially denied an abortion in Texas, despite the law making an exception for such emergencies. Then it ruptured.
I want to have kids, and I wanted to keep my fallopian tube, but now it's gone. A piece of my womanhood was taken.
She, along with another patient in Texas, are now calling on the Biden administration to investigate.
I had to fight like hell to get my care, and I still didn't get it fast enough.
And this issue of medical emergencies, particularly in Texas, not going away soon, as a lawsuit there going up to the U.S. Supreme Court potentially as soon as this fall. Back to you.
Thank you, Laura. Former New York Congressman George Santos back in court today. His fraud trial related to campaign funds is set to start next month. Today, Santos and his legal team were arguing over the jury selection process and potential witnesses. NBC's Antonia Hilton is outside the courthouse on Long Island. Hi, Antonia.
This hearing was about the jury selection process and witnesses. The Santos team had asked for two things. First, they wanted the identities of jurors to be protected, and actually all parties agreed on that. It was the second request that was an issue. They wanted all of the prospective jurors to have to go through a very long, very extensive questionnaire process to try to understand their beliefs about George Santos, their potential political leanings. And there was some concern that that kind of questionnaire could delay the trial proceedings And the government even made the case that if he's concerned about people's perceptions of him, that could be his own fault. George Santos has sat for interviews. He's posted on social media. He's even recorded himself on Cameo and sold that to fans over the last several months. As a reminder, this is a major case with high stakes. He is accused of wire fraud, identity theft, money laundering. To give some anecdotes, he allegedly used donors' credit cards at one point to transfer thousands of dollars in cash to himself. He spent campaign funds on things like Ferragamo shoes and Botox. He has pleaded not guilty to all of this. There was talk at one point about a plea deal, but all signs right now show that we are heading for a trial in early and mid-September. Back to you.
Antonia, thank you. We're unpacking a full slate of consumer news tonight. July inflation only rose 0.1%, much less than experts expected. And that's actually good news. And two well-known brands are making major changes. For one, it means widespread layoffs. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung is following all of it for us tonight. Hey, Brian.
Hey there, Valerie. Well, a slew of business news, starting off with inflation, with the new producer price index showing this morning that prices in this country did increase by 0.1%. That's a slower pace than what economists had expected. They were projecting something like 0.2%, and does point to perhaps a positive reading on the consumer price index, the largely more important inflation reading that we'll get tomorrow. Now, if we again zoom into what we got this morning, the producer price index is a measure of wholesale prices. Basically, how much does Costco or Target pay for the goods that ultimately you will pay for at the store? Now, the reason why the consumer price index reading tomorrow morning is going to be more important is because that actually covers the prices that you and I ultimately pay at the checkout lines, where the expectation is that prices will have increased by 3% on a year-over-year basis. We'll have to see what those numbers look like tomorrow morning. Now, why is inflation so important? Because it's impacting corporate side of things on Wall Street as well. A massive shakeup happening over at Starbucks, with Lakshman Narasimhan no longer going to be the CEO, at least as of the beginning of September. That's because the coffee company abruptly announced that they would be replacing him with Brian Niccol, who's currently the CEO of Chipotle, another quick service restaurant company. Now, Brian Niccol has had experience at Yum Brands, also has had experience at a number of other large consumer-facing companies as well. Brian Niccol, according to investors, hopefully going to bring a fresh view on sales, with $7 lattes becoming an issue at Starbucks, where sales have largely had issues here in the United States as consumers balk at inflation, in addition to issues that they've had overseas in China as well. And one other corporate news item that I'll leave you with is what's happening over at Paramount, that has announced a 15% global workforce layoff. That would impact about 2,000 jobs. This is according to our partners over at CNBC. Paramount saying that this could lead to about $500 million in cost savings. Again, companies trying to tighten their belt and change management as they try to navigate this very uncertain economy. Valerie?
Brian, thank you. Coming up, stolen, destroyed, and rebuilt, how a community banded together to bring back a treasured statue of baseball and civil rights icon Jackie Robinson. But first, you got to see this. A bull headed to a Massachusetts slaughterhouse goes on the run. Police say the animal was being loaded into a truck, then became enraged. The bull ran onto a nearby highway, causing at least 3 cars to crash. It was tracked down in a lake, but when it was spotted by officers and farm workers, it charged again. Police were forced to shoot the bull. We're told the farm had no choice but to euthanize it. Welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world. Would you take $1 billion to play soccer in Saudi Arabia? One of the best soccer players in the world is said to be considering just such an offer. Both Reuters and ESPN are reporting that Brazilian soccer player Vinicius Jr. has been offered a 5-year contract worth around $218 million a year to leave Spain for the Saudi Pro League, where he would join another soccer superstar, Cristiano Ronaldo. Polar bear attacks on humans are rare, but one took place in the Canadian Arctic last week, killing a worker at a remote outpost. Nasituk, the company that maintains the outpost, says the bear was put down, but did not go into details about the attack, and says it is cooperating with authorities on the investigation. A literal treasure trove of artifacts have been unearthed in Egypt. A spokesperson for the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities says items include, among other things, gold pieces, jewelry, and 38 bronze coins dating back to the year 305 after Alexander the Great took Egypt. And after being banned for being too spicy, Denmark will welcome the return of a popular South Korean ramen. The popular instant noodle brand was taken off shelves back in June after Danish Veterinary and Food Administration warned that it was so spicy that the person eating it could develop acute poisoning. So, why the about face? In short, a social media campaign. The noodle company paid Danish influencers to eat their product on a boat as it sailed through the Danish capital. In Athens, wildfires are inching even closer to the Greek capital. It's so bad that 6 countries in the region, including France and Italy, are aiding in the rescue effort. Thousands of people have been evacuated with no idea when they'll be able to return home. NBC's Kelly Kobiella has the latest.
Flames shooting more than 80 feet into the air as a fast-moving and unpredictable wildfire closed in on the Greek capital of Athens overnight. The ancient buildings that make the city a tourist hotspot, with more than 1 million Americans visiting every year, in the path.
I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a fire like this or clouds like we've seen all over Greece.
Susan Nesmith and her husband from Alabama saw the fire when they arrived Sunday.
We couldn't believe all the smoke and just literally so close to us, and just a giant smoke cloud that almost looked like a mushroom cloud from a bomb or something.
The fire forcing evacuations, burning homes and businesses, turning hotels into shelters. At least 1 person has died, more than a dozen treated for burns and breathing problems. The smoke and fire closing in on Monday. Kate and Ryan Swarthout from California capturing this in Greece to celebrate their daughter's college graduation.
And while we were here, we received emergency alerts on our phones, which was both concerning and comforting at the same time.
This satellite image showing the size, the fire scorching 25,000 acres. Warnings for children, pregnant women, and the elderly to be extra cautious because of the smoke.
The smoke was bad. We did really smell it yesterday, and we could see it obviously in the air for the last few days, but it did not change our travel plans at all.
Nearly 700 firefighters are battling this blaze. They got a bit of reprieve from the wind this morning, but the gusts picking up again this afternoon, with temperatures forecast to soar above 100 degrees today and tomorrow.
Kelly, thank you. Still ahead this hour, charged up. Tesla might be the best-known EV brand, but rivals are giving them a run for their money in China. We'll take their competitors' cars for a spin coming up. Welcome back. Here are some of the stories happening out west that we're following. A young girl was attacked by a black bear in Montana Sunday night. Authorities say she was in a tent on a private campground near the northeast entrance to Yellowstone National Park. The little girl is 3 years old and has been taken to a hospital. Park officials say the bear has been euthanized. They also say the bear was likely attracted to the campsite because of food and garbage left in and around the tent. Pro-Palestinian protesters briefly shut down the 405 freeway in L.A. today. It happened during rush hour. California Highway Patrol says the group brought traffic to a standstill. The agency also says 9 people were arrested and the freeway was cleared within about 30 minutes. 2 toddlers in diapers were caught on video in the middle of a Texas highway today. Police say they were thrown from a vehicle that crashed and rolled over. The Harris County Sheriff's Office says the children were taken to a hospital and are in serious but stable condition. The case remains under investigation, and so far there have been no arrests. Troubling scenes along California's coast. 6 sea lions lying on beaches. The number of animals now at a level that rescuers haven't seen before. More than 100 sea lions have gotten ill after ingesting a poisonous toxin. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz joined rescuers as they try to save these animals and ask them what this may mean for our own health.
In California, an urgent race to save dozens of sea lions, showing up sick and disoriented on beaches along the Central Coast.
The Marine Mammal Center is responding to a multitude of calls here and rescuing them.
So far, volunteers here have responded to nearly 150 sea lions and at least 2 dolphins, all showing signs of poisoning from domoic acid, a neurotoxin from algae that gets into the fish these animals eat and can flare up during the summer. The Marine Mammal Center says this outbreak has been longer and more intense.
These animals are seizing on the beach. Our teams are working overtime.
We followed a team as they made a rescue at a beach in Morro Bay. There on the shore, a stranded sea lion. Crowds watching as the crew made their approach.
Okay, they were successfully able to capture this sea lion here. They're now going to get it into the crate. They're going to then bring it to the truck. We're talking quietly because any loud noise can cause these animals to go into a seizure. 1, 2, 3. It's pretty dramatic to see a sick, disoriented animal like that right here on this popular beach.
It's very dramatic, but we also know that they are windows into the health of our ocean.
And to human health as well.
Are humans at risk?
There's a risk. Right now, currently, there isn't a warning for human consumption, but sea lions are the first indicators of that toxin being in the environment.
Although there's still much to learn about domoic acid outbreaks, experts say a strong upwelling of cold water and our warming climate are contributing factors.
These algae do well in warm environments, and so if we're seeing more of that and an increase in that, then that's definitely a factor for these events.
Sea lions, a sentinel for our ocean's health.
Liz joins me now. Liz, so what happens next after they've been rescued?
Well, Valerie, these animals are taken to a treatment facility where volunteers and animal care experts are able to try to nurse them back to health. The ones that survive are then released back into the ocean after about 2 to 6 weeks in an area that does not contain this toxic algae. Unfortunately, the dolphins, they are not able to be rescued. They either get stranded already having died or they have to be euthanized. About 30% of the sea lions right now in this region are not surviving that get rescued, including, I'm really sad to say, Valerie, I learned today, the one that we witnessed getting rescued in our piece there sadly did not make it.
Oh, Liz, it's heartbreaking. What else do we know about how common this type of outbreak is and how long does this usually last?
Well, there's still a lot of unknowns about why this is happening, why there is this domoic acid, and why sometimes there's worse flare-ups than others. It's been going on and off for years now, but it can get worse, like the volunteers saying that it's more intense right now in this part of the Central Coast than they've really ever seen. There's 4 times more sea lions stranding than this time last year. Typically, also, these episodes can last outbreaks about 2 weeks. Right now, this one's going on a month. Valerie.
Wow. All right. Liz Kreutz, thank you for your reporting. From scorchingly spicy chips to mouth-puckering sour candies and even supercharged energy drinks, extreme foods are America's latest obsession. There's a science behind the attraction to these over-the-top creations and their potential dangers. Here's NBC News correspondent Stephen Romo.
Ooh. I know, and it doesn't stop again.
From popular shows on YouTube featuring celebrities eating flaming hot sauce.
3, 2, 1.
To social media challenges tasting the sourest candies. Americans can't get enough of extreme foods.
I can tell that's going to be the hottest pepper that I've had up to date.
Nelson Chaney is one of them. His TikTok Craving Capsaicin is named after the active ingredient in hot chili peppers.
I kind of like my food to hurt a little bit.
Racking up millions of views, his videos show him eating full ghost peppers and Carolina Reapers, some of the hottest peppers in the world. But it's not just the challenge that he loves.
Some people say it's like a legal high, kind of, you know, it just makes you feel good, makes you happy. In a lot of my videos, you can see it. My eyes get kind of big and I start kind of getting giggly.
That feeling is what psychologist Elisa Trucco says attracts people to spicy foods, even when it burns.
These spicy foods, when you use these substances, they actually release things that are very similar to like a medication that you would take or a drug. So they release things like endorphins and also dopamine.
Scientists say eating foods with extreme flavors like hot pepper or sour candy triggers receptors in the mouth that tell the brain it's in danger.
I feel like I'm gonna die.
But when you survive, the relief causes a high.
Those are the things that are associated with like euphoria and then also feeling better, like kind of like pain. So it makes a lot of sense that people feel kind of like euphoric or kind of like that rush after using these substances.
After a while, people can build up a tolerance, so they seek foods that are even more extreme. Truco says that may be part of what's fueling the popularity of super caffeinated energy drinks.
With any substance, kind of like the more you start using the substance, the more kind of like tolerant or used to it you get. And then you kind of like need to kind of like boost it up to feel that same effect.
But there is a dark side. For young kids and those with underlying health conditions, extremely spicy ingredients and caffeine can be dangerous, even deadly. 2 adults, a 46-year-old man in Florida and a Pennsylvania college student, died after drinking Panera's charged lemonade, prompting the store to pull it from its shelves. And a 14-year-old boy died last year after trying the Pocky one-chip challenge. The parents now filing a wrongful death lawsuit against Hershey, the parent company of Pocky. Hershey saying in a statement to NBC News, "We disagree with these allegations and will defend ourselves against the claims." Nelson cautions his followers about trying these new food trends.
Don't try to do what I do at home. I have a very high tolerance and I would never put myself in any danger.
Stephen Romo, NBC News.
Before we go, it's time for the future of everything. We're going beyond the idea of water on Mars. How about an ocean? That might be the case, but where is it? That's in the future of space. Plus, it's electric. The battle over EVs is heating up in China. How do the cars stack up against Tesla's Model Y? That's the future of transportation next. Tonight, for the future of everything, we're going back 3 billion years into the past. Picture Mars as a world with water. According to NASA, oceans covered as much as 20% of the red planet. So where did all that water go? Scientists thought that when Mars lost its atmosphere, most of the surface water escaped into space, slowly evaporating away over billions of years. But new evidence suggests there's still some left underground. Findings released this week in the National Academy of Sciences say a hidden ocean could be trapped up to 12 miles deep. Scientists behind the discovery say it is the best evidence yet of liquid water on Mars. Joining me now is Dr. Paul Sutter. He is an astrophysicist, NASA advisor, and author of How to Die in Space, A Journey Through Dangerous Astrophysical Phenomena. Dr. Sutter, thanks for joining us tonight. Tell us how scientists made this discovery, and if there is a hidden ocean inside Mars, what's going on down there?
Oh, yes, this is such a wonderful discovery and shows that Mars, our nearest neighbor planet, still has so many surprises in store for us. And the scientists behind this study discovered this underground reservoir of water by using seismic data on NASA's InSight lander, which actually decommissioned last year because its solar panels got covered up with dust. But they were going through the archives of data, looking at seismic motions of Mars quakes and using that to understand what's happening deep under the surface, exactly how we use seismic data to understand what's happening underneath the crust of the Earth.
Okay, and so to put some of this in perspective, the deepest hole ever dug on Earth is a little over 7 miles. What kind of technology would be needed to even find this hidden ocean that could be up to 12 miles deep?
Yes. So this hidden ocean, I don't want you to think of it like some giant vat or underground reservoir. Instead, it's little bits of water tucked here and there inside of cracks and fissures inside of the rock. But there is so much of it spread throughout so much of the underground of Mars that if it was put on the surface of Mars, it would cover the entire planet up to 1 mile deep. And so to find this, to actually sample this and study this, we would need to dig very, very deeply. Like you mentioned, the deepest boreholes on Earth are 7 miles deep. The deepest we've been able to dig into the surface of Mars is 1 foot. So that shows just how hard it is to transport technology that we're used to here on Earth over to Mars, which sits over 150 million miles away.
Yeah, we got a long way to go there. What are the implications here for our understanding of both the past and future of Mars?
Yeah, this is where it gets really exciting because we are so interested in liquid water because life as we know it requires liquid water. And where we find liquid water outside of the Earth, we can find a potential, not guaranteed, but a potential home for life. And we know there is underground water, very similar underground water on the Earth. We know there are living creatures, microbes living miles under the surface here on Earth right now. And we have the exact same conditions underneath the surface of Mars. This could be a surprising home for Martian life.
Dr. Paul Sutter, we appreciate your expertise. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
In China, the world's largest auto market is becoming a battleground for electric vehicles as Tesla faces stiff competition from domestic brands. CNBC's Eunice Yoon explores whether these Chinese challengers are leading the EV revolution.
On a long road trip with your family? Maybe you'd like to consider a Li Auto L6.
Family in the front seats can watch TV or get massaged by their chairs. And if you want a cold drink, there's a fridge in the back.
Chinese EV makers are packing tech features into their cars to win over drivers at home and around the world. Voice-activated AI assistants like Nomi in the Neo EC6.
While other car AI systems respond to direct voice commands, such as turn off the air conditioner, people on social media say that Nomi sounds more like a person. Hey Nomi, I feel so cold. 我很冷.
调高了2度，马上就温暖了。
Neo also tries to keep you on the road by exchanging your depleted battery with a charged one at stations like this.
So we're 92% charged, and that took a little less than 10 minutes.
And if you miss the roar of a combustion engine, no problem in the XPeng G6.
I could change a setting so that this EV sounds as though it's running on gas.
The Chinese EV makers cram in these features at lower prices.
The XPeng G6 has almost the exact same dimensions as the Model Y, but at $27K, it's $9,000 cheaper.
Yet in other ways, they're still getting up to speed.
你好，小皮，自动补车. Please park the car.
I can tell the AI assistant to park the car without me. Or maybe not. And you often get what you pay for. This BYD Tang is a 7-seater, $11,000 less than the Model Y, but the backseat is a squeeze, and interior trim basic. With so much focus on tech, Tesla's rivals have yet to catch up on performance, a hurdle Chinese EV makers could face finding global customers. Eunice Yoon, CNBC Business News, Beijing.
In Wichita, Kansas, a story that began with a shameless crime now has a hopeful ending. When the statue of baseball icon Jackie Robinson was stolen and later destroyed, people in the city lost hope. But thanks to an outpouring of donations and a community banding together, the statue has returned in Hall of Fame fashion. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky was there.
They arrived in their game day best, players welcoming another back home.
We know that out of darkness comes light.
Which is why Renee Alexander brought twins AJ and Aisley back to their League 42 ballpark.
I said, hey, you guys want to go see the new statue being revealed? And they said, yeah, and went crazy.
It was January when the league's beloved Jackie Robinson statue was stolen. The crime even caught on surveillance video.
You see that surveillance video, someone taking them away.
I was like, was it because of race? Was it because of hatred?
The man who confessed blamed drugs, and when sentenced to prison for theft and other crimes, apologized.
I'm sorry.
Over the last 6 months, donations allowed for an exact replica, crafted in Colorado, then carefully packed, to finally return to Wichita for a homecoming fit for a Hall of Famer.
1, 2, 3, go!
A monumental moment where Robinson's legacy looms large.
If it wasn't for League 42, a lot of the kids in this community probably wouldn't even be playing baseball.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Including Jason Dennis's own son, Jackson.
I like how they put Jackie Robinson there because he's my favorite player.
Really, of all time? When you walk past that statue next season, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm going to hit a home run.
Inspiration from a player and man. Proving barriers were made to be broken.
I think it gives this generation hope that they too can do anything if they put their mind to it.
Morgan Chesky, NBC News, Wichita, Kansas.
Nice to see that, standing tall and proud. That does it for us tonight. I'm Mallory Castro. We'll see you tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.